Hi, I'm Mia Freedman, and this is No Filter. You know what I love about Lisa Oldfield? Well, the term no filter was actually invented for her. She's unlike anyone else I've ever met in that she's a huge amount of fun to be around, but she's got the sharpest tongue and one of the quickest minds, not always used for good. But she's one of those extraordinary people. A lot of people like to say, oh, I don't care what other people think, but Lisa really doesn't. She's just never cared. She's absolutely authentic. There is so much about her that I disagree with, but I'm always an admirer of someone who is themselves. And I don't know any of the other women on Real Housewives, but I can tell you that what Lisa is on that show, what you see of her, all the crazy, that is also what she's like off the show. I thought I knew Lisa Oldfield pretty well. We spent a pretty intense time together at Channel 9, and then I've sort of, I don't know, we've been Facebook friends. She's pretty cray. But I learnt some very interesting things in this episode, one of which just dropped my jaw to the floor in the casual way that she just, slipped it into conversation. Anyway, I think you'll enjoy it. Here is Lisa Oldfield, Real Housewife of Sydney. How the bloody hell are you?
All the better for seeing you, Mia Freedman.
Oh, my God. When I heard that you were being cast for this, I was like, that is the smartest thing I could even possibly imagine, because you were actually made for this show.
I'm a bit nuts. But then again, you cast me in the catch-up back in 2007.
I don't even know where to start. Okay, one memory that I have of a really tumultuous time that we both had, and we joke about it, but there was tears. It was really hard. But I remember you coming in one day and your face was all swollen and you said you'd been kicked in the mouth by a horse.
No, I've been hit by a saddle.
And then it turned out that no, you just had your lips done.
I know, but now I can embrace it. But back then
people didn't talk about it back then,
They didn't talk about it. Now I own it. Look, none of this face is mine.
That was a long time ago. That was like more than 10 years ago. People weren't getting their lips done back then.
No, God, now I've got my lips done.
You were a pioneer.
I've had my hips done, my lips done, head bones connected to my...
You've had a lot done. Like how, and it hasn't all been cosmetic.
No.
Just take me through top to toe.
Okay, so, the hair is real, Botox in the forehead, fillers in the lips, Botox in the chin.
What does Botox do in your chin?
Well, because I have that horrible little, when it, how do you describe it? I don't know, it looks mottled. It almost looks like cellulite on your chin, but I didn't have a fat chin. It was just...
It was just ugly. Like dimples, isn't it? Dimples?
Lots of dimples, too many dimples.
Multiple dimples.
It wasn't great. Then, unfortunately, I lost feeling in my left arm.
From too much Botox?
Not from too much Botox. No, it was really quite weird. I was in the office one day and I put my hands behind my back and then I couldn't put my left arm down. And next thing, I was in front of a surgeon who said, if you don't have an operation tomorrow, you're going to be quadriplegic. So he took a great big chunk of hip bone out, and that's how my head is now attached to my neck.
What was wrong with you?
Where do we start? Have we got a couch?
I mean, with your skeleton in that particular instance.
No, look, multiple skiing accident, multiple horse riding accidents. And then look.
So it was a spinal thing.
It was a spinal thing, C5, C6. And the thing is that, once you hit 40, and even though I'm still 39 on Facebook, I'm actually 41 in real life. And
I thought you were older than that.
Fuck off.
Okay. Have you had stuff done to your cheeks? What else have you had done to your face? No, my God, are you serious?
I'm part Asian, so I was blessed with high cheekbones and lovely almond eyes.
Right. So it's just Botox for wrinkles and to raise your eyebrows. That's what it does, isn't it?
And some fillers in the lips. But no, look, part Asian, so look, I'm really smart, have high cheekbones and can't drive. Oh, my God, have we just covered all?
We have. Now, the thing is, when I watch you on Housewives, and in that first... God, it's an awful show, by the way. Not like awful, like...
It's train wreck.
But it's the worst of women,
and I had a problem with that.
And how do you feel about that?
Well, when it was sold to me, it was about women who had been successful empowering other women. I thought, yeah, that's great. And look, fair enough.
Have you seen an episode of that show, of any of them?
I've seen 2, and it's like, wow, okay.
No, but of any of the other, Melbourne.
No, I'd watched Auckland. I'd watched Auckland and I watched a bit of Melbourne. So,
so you knew it wasn't about women empowering each other. You knew it was about a lot of plastic surgery and smackdown bitch fights.
But I signed the contract and then watched the show. Okay, so I could have given you a call. Sorry.
Yeah, but also you could have just used the Google. Okay, so the show, they approached you because why wouldn't you approach you?
Because I'm
And
crazy.
what was their pitch to you? We're
They
going to
said
empower women.
We're going to empower women. This is incredible. And, the interesting thing for me, Mia, was that even though I have a lot of female friends, I don't have a group of female friends. Like I have a best friend who's a girlfriend and I'll catch up with her or, like mates through Harry and Bert's school or whatever. But I had never caught up with a group, and it was interesting, the dynamic, the ferocity of it. And, like I'm happy with who I am. Like the Lisa Oldfield you see on Real Housewives is the same Lisa Oldfield in the boardroom, the same one in the nursery with the boys.
I can pretty much testify to that.
Yeah, exactly. Testify!
That is you.
Yeah.
And then when some people say, is it scripted? Did someone feed you that line about calling one of the other housewives Chewbacca in that first episode? That is you all over. You've got a very sharp mind and a very sharp tongue, and you're good at a funny name that's incredibly mean, but
there's no malice.
Right. Because you genuinely don't care what people think of you.
Couldn't give a shit.
You never have.
No.
Okay. So they approach you. They say, do this. You didn't think you were going to make friends, did you? You're not that naive.
I was always going to treat people the way they treated me. And I have to say, I've made an amazing friend in Athena Lavendi, who, on paper, we should never have been friends.
Is that Athena X?
That's Athena X.
What's the X about?
It's X-rated. Wait till you see it. Wait till you get to
you and
episode
Athena?
4. Not Scissor Sisters, no, but they're but pretty close.
Has there ever been action in any of the Housewives franchises?
Oh, what, lesbian action?
Yeah.
I don't know. I haven't watched that many of them.
No, not that I can think of.
But if I was going to swing, it would be for Athena.
It would be for Athena.
Yeah.
What was there an audition process? Because there was a lot of you and then there was less of you. And obviously, what did you have to do? Did you just have to show how crazy you were?
No, it was really weird. I got a phone call from a lady out of the blue that said, we'd like to talk to you about a TV series. Can we just, confidentially go and have a chat? And she was asking me about my life and, about my family. And at the end of it, she said, look, it's Housewives. And I thought, I've heard of the franchise, but I don't watch a lot of television. I watch Game of Thrones, Walking Dead, anything that Bert wants to watch, basically. I just watch it. And but she was lovely. And then I got together with a group and I met Matty Samay and I thought, you're a cool chick. I like you. And then we got into another group and then I met Athena X. And this was really weird because I am so cynical and so matter of fact. If I can't see it, I don't believe it. And Athena is this diametrically opposed absolute where, she's spiritual and she's esoteric. But funnily, I had this connection with her and I thought, you intrigue me and I like you. And the next day I rang her, even though we didn't know whether we were going to be in the show or not. I want to be your friend. And she's just a really lovely lady. And I look, for all the barbs and arrows, for all the insults, it was worth doing Housewives just to become her friend.
Have you stopped filming now?
We have stopped filming, thank Christ.
When did you start and when did you stop?
I think it was late August, so just after I'd had the spinal surgery. So the first 4 episodes, totally on endone.
Really?
With wine chasers.
Yeah.
Sorry. And then, we finished mid-December.
What I want to ask you about is there's this formula for the show that it's very confected outrage. So there's a real formula where they get someone to say something about someone else and then someone has to tell the other person what, it's completely schoolyard Mean Girls stuff.
It is Mean Girls.
Yeah, but I've only watched the Melbourne one and the Sydney one now and it's just exactly the same. And then you spend the whole episode going, but that time you said this about me, and then it's like, well, couldn't that really, that is drawn out for the whole series. All of that does seem really confected.
And manufactured. I thought so too.
Yeah.
And when they were trying to get me upset about David sleeping with Pauline Hanson, I don't give a shit if he slept with a boatload of Chinese sailors.
Exactly. But you seemed like you were trying to get upset and you were why did you say stuff about my husband? And it's like, I know you and you don't, the stuff said about David and Pauline, did they have sex or not? I can't even remember.
No.
They didn't?
No.
She says they did. He says they didn't.
Yeah, but she was trying to sell a book. But I don't blame her because the guy is a king in the cot.
Really?
Yeah.
Would you care if they had sex?
No, not really, because I was in
I
was in school at the time. David Oldfield, pedophile.
So you wouldn't care if they had sex?
No, of course not. And this is what. And look, David tells me everything, and he even points out some of the mingers that he's been with. Like if we walk past them, and they're believe me, they're uglier than Pauline. I wouldn't care.
So then why did you pretend to care? You had to find something to get annoyed about, and she had to say something.
Do I care though? I don't. I just look mildly annoyed rather than
a little
bored.
bit.
Yeah.
And then it's like, why did you say? Like your heart didn't seem to really be in it.
No, it's like, oh, really? Because I mean, so many people say it. But I mean, look, I think it was Victoria trying to be bitchy, and I think Victoria was trying to be bitchy. I know to
start a plot line.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But the person that upset me the most, and it wasn't manufactured, was Chrissy.
Why?
Because Nicole O'Neill is someone that means a lot to me, and her.
So you genuinely did know each other, because it seemed like they tried to make these tenuous links about people who'd been friends, and none of you actually had met each other before.
So Nicole's father was a very good friend of David's, and we spent a lot of time together over the last 20 years. In fact, Nicole's brothers, Nabil and Nicholas, are Harry and Bert's godfathers. So
okay, so that was a genuine connection.
Genuine. And I love Nicole's parents. I love Nicole's whole family.
Yeah.
And so when I was making that speech about Maud and Nabil, Nicole's parents, it was very heartfelt. And then when this grub, this pig, started oh, I can't stand this. It's like, excuse me, this is not about you.
All she said was, I'm going to get teary.
No, but she was shouting and you missed a lot of it. Like she was rude, she interrupted, she tried to make it about her. And for me, it was this lovely testament on television to two people that I really cared about.
Can I just ask though, so we started off by you saying I really wanted to be part of a group of girlfriends, and they said it was going to be about empowering and supporting women. So far, the names that you've called other women just in this podcast are awful. Like, you've just already said awful things about just so many people. Where does that come from? Like, why be so mean?
What did I say?
You said this minge and this one's ugly and this one's and this one's a this and...
I didn't say it about the girls on the Housewives.
Yeah, look, you just...
No, saying that David had been with some mingers.
And Chewbacca and those things seem to come really easily
Chewbacca's a hero. Are you serious? He's Han Solo's best mate.
I don't think you said it as a compliment.
I just meant, you know why I said that she was Chewbacca? Because she was just tall and big and hairy and all. Whenever I tried to get something intelligent out of her, like Han Solo would turn to Chewie. That's what it was like. She just reminded me of Chewbacca. And I'm a big Star Wars fan. Love George Lucas. So
it was said as a compliment. Yeah.
No, not at all.
No, not at all. So, there is no plot in the show, right? So it's just really, they come and visit you at home. You have to do a little thing, and then you have to meet. I don't know. I'm telling you what it's like. You tell me how it works.
So so obviously I knew Matty. I knew Athena. Athena's family make a lot of my jewelry, Lavendi jewelry. And obviously knew Nicole. Knew Melissa peripherally. So we come along to this party. Obviously Nicole, it's her party. And
that was the first time. That was genuinely the first time.
No, we had met. We'd met at the launch.
Okay.
But literally, I had never met Victoria, and I said hi to her at the launch. She slagged me off to a couple of journos.
But no one, I mean, you were all slagging each other off before it even started. I don't know anyone that talks about each other, like women. I don't know women that behave this way in real life. Like, I really don't. How does that, is it scripted? Is it manufactured? Is it encouraged? It must be, because women don't behave like that.
Well, yeah, in real life, you would walk away from someone like Chrissy Marsh, for example, offended me. I can't begin to describe how much she offended me. And she was someone who delighted in being a victim. And, oh, my God, you offended me, Liz. Oh, your Amy Winehouse comment. Oh, my God, that's disgusting. Like, it was just my black humour, sorry. But in real life, you just go, okay, well, she was a bit of a knob. I won't meet her again.
Yeah.
But we were
because
thrown
you had to be
together.
shoved together all the time.
I was like, oh, God, not this one again. Can't I just lobotomise myself with a knitting needle?
And did you all know that you had to perform? Because it's like, okay, we're together. We can't be nice. Someone's got to find something to be offended by, and someone's got to throw someone's jacket over the balcony.
That was real. I have to say, that was real.
Yeah, but she was performing. Again, no one would behave like that in real life. It's like you all know what's expected of you.
I have to say that came completely left of centre for me. I actually walked home, and if you watch my Instagram feed, I went home that night and said I've never met a more malevolent bunch of moles.
So what's in it for everyone to behave so appallingly? And in front of their children and in front of, that...
I behave pretty appallingly in front of my children without housewives around.
Why put yourself out there to look bad? I don't understand, because I can't imagine you were all paid that much money.
No, look, believe me, I could be making shirts with 8-year-olds in Macau and be making more money. But no, look, I don't think I start any fights. And if you watch the whole series, I'm not aggressive. But I will defend myself. But
you will throw down.
Oh yeah, I will throw down, but you have to start it.
But I know you have this pathological, sociopathic disengagement from what anyone thinks of you, and you always have. But I don't know anyone else like you. I can't believe that they found all the other people like you.
No, they're not. And look, and some of the girls took it and there were a lot of tears offset, and there were a lot of, and look, you know what, my biggest problem is that I hulk out. I have this incredible rage that, usually only bubbles to the surface twice a year. Usually David is the recipient of it. And the hardest time I had on the show was trying to control that, because I do see red. And I thought, I don't want to lose my shit in front of it. And anyway, you'll have to wait till episode 9.
And you didn't, and having the cameras there and having the crew there and having to do things 2, 3, 4, 6 times doesn't dull that down. I mean, none of you are actors.
No, look, but look, you were thinking, someone's had a shot at me, I'm ready to say that, and then they'll say, Lisa, you need to walk in this way so we can catch you from behind, and we need you to get the drone on you. Yeah, look, it does. You lose some of that, I don't know, immediacy.
Coming up, more from Lisa Oldfield, but first, a message from our wonderful sponsors. The stuff with you at home with David and the kids.
That's all real. It's unscripted.
That's pretty funny. You clearly, again, just not caring how you're judged. You've always been quite harsh about Bertie when I've spoken to you. Like, it's clear who your favourite is.
Bert is a sociopath. Like, no, you have no idea. Like,
he's your challenging child.
No, he's incredibly challenging. Like, he goes to this very Christian school. It's quite funny because Harry's a Jew. I don't know if you know that, and Bert's a Christian.
How does that work?
I know. Harry came home from school one day. Harry was 5 at the time. He's now 6. And he said, Mum, why do you love bacon more than God? And I said, well, because bacon is delicious. And he said, God still loves you, but you're not one of his chosen people.
Where does he go to school?
It's the same school as Bert. Anyway, and they'd obviously studying the Old Testament. Anyway, and he said, I said, sorry, where is this coming from? He goes, well, I'm a Jew. And I said, okay. And how are you a Jew? He goes, well, I'm circumcised and I don't eat pork. Okay. And then and Bert said, well, I'm a Christian. But no, I have a good friend who's Israeli who was in the IDF who's 6'5" and very cool. So if I was a 5-year-old, I would aspire to be like him too. But then, but Bert, very devout Christian, was explaining the 10 Commandments to his teacher the other day. And so he said, you can't murder, you can't rob, and you can't the lady next door. I said, no, Bert, I think that's, you can't covet thy neighbour's wife. But, hey, whatever. I think you got the gist of it.
But that's a funny joke, but he heard that from you. Like that.
No, he didn't. He figures it out himself. He said to David last night, he said, I think we're just God's playthings. We're just God's toys. He's very, very cerebral.
Do you love him?
I adore him. In fact, Harry is my pride. Bert is my joy.
Yeah, right.
And Bert is probably so much like his mother.
Yeah.
I'm probably more overprotective of him, but
I think that your most challenging child is the one that's most like you.
Exactly.
That's why mothers clash with their daughters so often.
Thank God I didn't have a daughter. Yes.
Are you the primary earner now? The primary breadwinner?
It's hard to say. David certainly brought a lot more capital to the relationship, but I certainly bring more revenue in. Are we getting really economic now?
Yeah, no, that makes a lot of sense, actually. What do you do? I've never known. It's something, you've always been successful, and it used to be something to do with software.
And still in the software game, but it's amazing. I love technology, so working with a lot of established companies, private companies ready to go public. Also working with a lot of startups, so investing in small startups. One of the projects I'm really excited about at the moment is the Australian Egg Bank. So it is encouraging younger women to
freeze their eggs.
Freeze their eggs. Because, when we get all politically correct and say, you're 45, you can have a baby. Okay, that might be politically correct, but scientifically it's not right.
You struggled to get pregnant, didn't you?
I did struggle to get pregnant. But once we did... and it had nothing to do with fertility issues or my age. It was a thyroid problem. But once we had our 2 boys, my best friend, who was 41 at the time, had gone to South Africa, had been through IVF for 2 years, went to South Africa to get a donor egg, didn't work. And they just said, look, Lee, it's all over. And I said, well, I obviously make good-looking kids. Okay, Bert might be a sociopath, but, do you want one of mine? And I donated my eggs to her, and she now has a 15-month-old baby who is absolutely beautiful. And look, I obviously drink a lot. So if I need a liver or kidney, I've got an extra point to go to.
Hang on. What did she have, a boy or a girl?
She had a boy.
How do you feel about him?
Not very impressed that he's not circumcised, but otherwise...
Why is circumcision such a big thing for you?
Well, look, I did the research and believe me, you're 5 times less likely to contract HPV, 8 times less likely to catch HIV. Look, it doesn't replace using a condom, obviously, but it's obviously cleaner and medically viable.
So then that's quite an interesting example of when, like, that is your biological child and she's making decisions that you don't agree with.
That was a bit hard.
What do you do?
Well, it was no skin off my nose, but boom, show him here all
Boom,
week.
boom.
Oh my God, I'm like Kathy.
What is your relationship with the kid?
I'm his godmother, and his mother's my best friend. But I don't think of him. Look,
did you have to have a lot of counselling? It's quite a laborious process. You can't just sort of go, "Hey, here's an egg."
You know, we did. We had a lot of counselling. We had a lot of legals and everything we had to go through. The biggest person that had a problem with it was David, because David had an issue with the fact that I had a baby with someone else. Like, even though we weren't doing this, can you say that on camera? He was a bit funny about it. But look, I try and be very pragmatic. And at the end of the day, that baby would have been a period. Yeah, okay, look, it was a bit hard going through all the hormones and the rest of it.
Because the extraction...
It's not nice. But look, at the end of the day, my best mate's got a beautiful little boy.
What's his relationship to Bertie and Harry? I mean, they're brothers.
Harry adores him. Harry is so overprotective of him. Bert wants to feed him to my snake. No.
Yeah. Do you feel maternal?
No.
Around him?
I like having a cuddle, but he's a big lump like the other two. Like, and I've got a crooked neck, so like I try not to pick him up too much.
So you don't look at him and feel anything more complicated than this is my best friend's cute little kid?
It's probably the same way I view my nephew.
Right.
Because he's not 100% Harry and Bert. It's like if my brother or, yeah. It's a lovely relationship.
Did you have fights about the circumcision? And did she have to say back off?
No, I suggested once we found out that he was a boy at 20 weeks, that would be a good way to go. And she got a bit upset about it and just said, look, no, that's my decision, that's final. David, on the other hand, went and printed 60 pages of material from Brian Morris's microbial website from the University of Sydney, and then posted it to her husband saying, clearly your wife is ignorant, but I hope you read this. And
oh my God, you guys must be just great friends to have.
It's never boring. But hey, you got a kid. No.
I loved that in Housewives you don't shy away from showing that you have a live-in nanny.
Oh yeah.
You do work full-time.
Yeah, work full-time. And look, and Dana is, oh my God, seriously,
she's your wife, right?
She's my wife. But apart from it, it's this lovely feeling that we... this lovely relationship we have where, you know, I trust her implicitly and I love those little boys, but so does she, and it's fantastic. But she also knows they're nutcases, and I'm a nutcase. She's a nutcase.
But the more people that love your kids, the better.
Oh, completely. And that's it. And I never, you know, it was interesting. I was talking to a mother from the school who was saying, I've got to get rid of this nanny because they're getting too close.
Oh, God.
Oh my God, I would encourage, I would want everyone to.
I agree.
Bert's not easy to love, but like, you know, I'll give you a medal if you can.
So when the show started promoing, you texted me and you said, I saw on the promo you were referred to as politician's wife, which is hilarious because David isn't a politician or hasn't been a politician for 100 years.
Yeah.
And you were very indignant and you said, I can't believe it. I can't believe that what Foxtel have done. I am an independent businesswoman, rah, rah, rah. I think I just became a feminist.
Yeah.
And I said to you...
You're always a feminist.
I said, you've always been a feminist. And secondly, you said, I want to write something for Mum Mia. And I said, babe, you signed up for a show called Real Housewives.
That was supposed to be sardonic. You know, none of us are real housewives. But look, you know, it was interesting. My entire career, and you know, I've worked in this commercial space for 23 years. I've never been disadvantaged because I was a girl. I've never been promoted or given a role because I was a girl. I was always
or missed out on one.
No, exactly. And I was the best at what I did. And even when I was at the very peak of my career, before I had children, you know, and people used to explain my success by, oh, she's sleeping with the boss or she's doing. I was like, off. If I had time to sleep with the boss, I'd read a book.
But don't you? But hang on, you said you've never experienced any sexism because of being a woman. That's fairly sexist. I mean, they don't say that about men, do they?
No, sorry. So I'd never been disadvantaged because I was female. It was always the haters that would try and excuse the fact that, I was more successul than them because I had a vagina.
So you never saw it as an obstruction to
never saw it as an
success.
obstruction,
And that's got nothing to do with feminism.
No, but the interesting thing was, like, in my industry, I'm like Madonna or Cher. Like, I have the single moniker. I just, hey, this is Lisa, and people.
Oh, in your industry,
in my industry, and then to be described as a politician's wife was like, well, you're right. David hasn't been a politician for 10 years. And
you're earning the bread.
Exactly. So
he's at home with the kids.
Yeah, doing a great job, by the way. Oh, well, maybe not with Bert, but with Harry, awesome.
But also full-time nanny, live in.
Plus, he's also doing a lot of building development work too.
Okay, so he's got some side hustle going.
Oh, massive side hustle.
Yeah. How did you process that whole I'm being described as a politician's wife? I mean, everyone on the show has a little moniker, right? I can't remember what the other ones are called.
Oh, one of them was a self-made millionaire. Christ, if you're not a millionaire in Sydney, like, anyone that's got a bloody shed out the back that they own is a millionaire. So, no, I was just a bit pissed off. It felt like it denigrated me. I was more than that. And you know that I'm more than that.
Why did you do this show called Real Housewives?
But I didn't know that's how they were going to describe me.
But where you're all like, it's all just about surgery and having lunch and drinking Bollinger.
But we'll wait till you see a few more episodes. It's more than that, and they do follow me around the office, and they do meet my clients, and it's clear that and Matty is someone who's an incredibly successful businesswoman. Victoria, is a very astute businesswoman. The rest of them, like, okay. I'll plead the fifth.
I was interested that there are two women, neither of whom I know, but whose husbands live overseas and they live here with their children. Do they actually live here, or was it just like pretend live
seriously.
here for the show, to do the show?
Chrissy Marsh's husband, Johnny, is the loveliest guy, and I totally get how their marriage works because he lives in Shanghai, and you would want to put at least an ocean between you and Chrissy Marsh. Chrissy Marsh is the biggest pain in the ass I've ever met in my entire life. Like, she's a flip-flopper. Like, off air, she can be quite pleasant and, okay, well, I won't say smart, but, but you could have a conversation with her. And I don't know what she came in to do, but she seems to want to position herself as this bitchy bimbo.
But what do you really think of her? Refill your glass, Lisa. After this, I'm going to ask you about the other housewives and get you to review them for me.
Love Life. It's a podcast about love.
And sex.
And life, I was going to say. Leanne.
Oh, mine's in the gutter, isn't it?
You're a professional psychologist.
Apparently.
If you've got a question about love or life, you can call us 02 8999 9386 because things are better when you talk about them.
Nothing's off limits. We'll talk about anything.
Love Life. Coming soon to Mamma Mia. Subscribe in iTunes or the Mamma Mia podcast app.
I'm going to go through and ask you about each of them, okay?
Okay.
Because I've got them written down here. Athena X, you've already said you'd turn for her.
Would turn for her. She's an absolute cracker. Love her to bits.
Chrissy, I think we're fairly clear on where things stand with Chrissy.
She's just a pain in the ass, that's all. Look, she's not very... I'll tell you what, Chrissy is like a drag queen. Very loud, very obnoxious, but without the brains or the dick.
Right.
Are you getting a picture?
I am. You can be a bit drag queeny.
Yeah. Oh my God. I told you there's a drag queen that's like modelling himself on me.
Yeah.
Love that.
You are a bit drag queeny because you're very tall, you're very loud, you've got a really sharp tongue, you're just larger than life. Are quite obnoxious.
Am I?
No. Okay. Nicole O'Neill. She used to be Nicole Gazelle, right?
Nicole Gazelle. So
Nicole O'Neill.
Love Nicole. Like I said, long-time family friend. Well, her parents were long-time family friends, but she'd been away in the UK for 8 years. She's changed quite a bit since she came back. Look, I'm successful. I don't need to big note myself.
She was a Miss World or something.
But no,
they all talk so much about money.
I hate that. And I think it's parvenu, and I think it's gauche, and I think.
But you say that. But in episode 2, you're saying something about I drink Bollinger instead of.
Do I say that?
Yeah. What did you say? I do instead of Yellow Glen.
Oh, well, I mean, hey, that's just good taste, darling. I'm not saying, hey, I could take $200,000 out of my joint account and my husband wouldn't notice.
Yeah,
or, hey,
right.
look, I teach my children about class by taking them down from first class at midnight and pointing at the poor people. Oh, look, they're poor.
Okay, Maddie.
Maddie's great.
Maddie has a cosmetic surgery clinic, does she?
She has a Medi Spa, so she does like lots of injectables and Maddie.
I love that it's called a Medi Spa, as if there's anything pleasant and like spa-y about it. It's actually just needles
relax.
of shit
Yeah,
in your
exactly.
face, right?
I'm going to inject some asbestos. And
Yeah.
and not that Maddie injects asbestos. It's always blue asbestos down at Maddie. No, just kidding.
What is she?
Got
What
caveat.
is?
She's great. She's a firecracker, and look, and I mean, she's an incredibly powerful woman. She came from Iran during the fall of Iran. Like, her family were well-educated doctors, engineers. They suffered under the Ayatollah. They escaped. An incredible story of survival. She said, I saw kids that I went to school with die in front of me. It's not dissimilar to what we're seeing in Syria today, but became. Studied, became a nurse, had a very bad first marriage. That all fell apart. She has 2 beautiful little girls. Now she's met her great partner, Michael. The asshole ex-husband now catches the bus with Matty on the side to work.
The Real Housewives bus.
Exactly. Hop aboard.
Melissa Couts.
Couts.
Melissa Couts, read my lips. She seems very much deer in the headlights, thrown in because she's famous.
Can I do my Melissa Couts impersonation?
Yeah.
If you want to wait till later, hands off my detonator. Sorry, I've been waiting 30 years to do that.
That's
Sorry.
terrible.
Really? I thought it was hot. It's
No,
better
it's really bad.
Really? Because I don't have auto-tune. She does. But no, Melissa is great. Melissa is fantastic. She's a beautiful family. She lives just down the road. 2 little kids the same age as Harry and Bert. But she is a bit deer in the headlights. She said to me, she said, my entire life, and she's been in this industry since she was 4 years old, said, I've never had to play anyone. I played all these characters, but I've never played myself.
Yeah.
And I think at times she said, I want to hide. I want to hide behind my extensions. It was like, what the fuck are you doing on a reality TV show then?
Well, I suppose it's interesting looking at everybody's different motivations for being on it.
Did I tell you why I did it?
No.
Well, interesting story. Apart from the Australian Egg Bank, which is what I want to promote, because I'm really big on not only women's fertility but same-sex families, like having obviously options around.
In Australia, hang on a second. In Australia, though, you can't just buy eggs, can you?
That's not about buying eggs. So
It's about It's about harvesting
That's
eggs
just not
and
only
storing
storage eggs, so like,
freezing eggs.
Not only freezing eggs, but when people have surplus eggs, saying, you know what, I don't want them to be destroyed. Yeah, I want a same-sex couple to have them, or I want
So can a same-sex couple come to the bank
Absolutely,
and
they
say, have you got any spare eggs for me?
Absolutely.
Really?
And that is what I'm passionate about, because I love.
But you can't sell them to them, can you?
But it's not about selling.
It's about donations.
Exactly. It's all about charity and being decent human beings. Look, I don't particularly think I'm a
Yeah, but there must be a
human-
business case in it. It's not a charity. So it's a
so,
business.
No. So sorry, the donation part is all free.
Got it.
But women who choose to store their eggs, or businesses that want to pay to have their female employees' eggs stored, they obviously pay a charge.
Is that something
there.
that employers are offering now?
Absolutely. So Google, Microsoft, Salesforce.com in the US, they're all encouraging their female employees to store their eggs, because it costs them a fortune every time they turn over a female staff member or any staff member. So if you can engender their loyalty, if you can encourage them to stay and say, you know what, I want to give you choices, and I appreciate the fact that.
And so do you hold their eggs to ransom, and you say, if you resign or go to another company, we'll destroy them?
That's naughty. No, of course, no. Human tissue is your own. You can't do that. No, it's always your own. Geez, you're a cheeky bugger.
That's lucky.
Yeah.
So you wanted to do it to promote the Australian Egg Bank.
I wanted to promote that. And also, look, this is my love letter. This is my time capsule to my descendants. So, when Bert and his 4 or 5 wives have multiple children, they can all go back and look at crazy Granny Lisa. I have taken David's family back to 1140 in terms of family history. I've taken my family back down to 1600.
Oh, you mean the year?
The year. No, they're all that's left of them is birth and death certificates or parish records.
Yeah.
And, and I think, oh, wow, like one of my great-grandparents was the first mayor of Barrel, and he died at 102 because he had pneumonia from being kicked in the chest by a cow. I thought, I want to meet that guy, but I don't know the story behind it. I'm thinking, wow, these kids are just going to hear, shit, I wish I hadn't Googled Grandma Lisa. Is that me?
Probably. Who is it? You can answer it if
Can
you
we
want.
answer it?
Yeah.
Oh, it's Dave. Can we answer it?
Yeah, answer it.
Hey, darling, you're on air.
Hello?
You're on the air. Mia, do you want to ask him a question?
Hey, David, how are you?
I'm saying how you going.
Yeah, but Mia's asking a question. How are you, Dal?
I'm quite well, Mia. How are you?
I'm really good.
That's good. Did Lisa tell you how Harry's Hebrew now?
Yes, she's trying to arrange a Fiddler on the Roof style match between him and Coco, but she's a bit old for him yet. She's 11, so I don't know if she's ready to be a cougar.
No, she's into cougars.
He likes a cougar, Harry.
He likes a cougar. Likes a cougar. Oh, that's good.
Did you?
No, sorry, what were you going to say, honey?
Oh, sorry. Were you ringing for a reason?
Yeah, I was just trying to see how you went. I would have thought you'd have done by now. So you're still going, eh?
No, but we will be soon.
Oh, okay. Yeah, no worries.
Love you.
Well, nice to speak to you, Mia. Take care.
See you, David. Bye.
Bye. Love your work.
Yeah.
Whatever.
See you, bye. I mean, it's interesting that you guys are still married because you're going through a really tumultuous time when we were doing the catch up. Like a real,
I'm still going through a tumultuous
I didn't think you guys would last the distance, but you did, and you've gone on to have 2 kids.
I think it's because we hate each other so much that we just want to punish one another and keep punishing. No, just kidding. Like no one would put up with David. No one would put up with me. Like,
I think that's true.
I really think we are the perfect match. But no, I love him like you wouldn't believe. But we fight like bloody cat and dog. It's like Mr. and Mrs. Smith at our house most nights. But it's just because we're passionate people. But in the same token,
But in a healthy way.
we get riled up. But like within 5 minutes, we're both okay. And so, hey, okay, cool, let's go and have dinner. And that was one of the problems. It was interesting. When we started the show, we all saw a psychologist, the Housewives. And the psychologist said to me, the biggest problem you're going to have is that you fire up and you say how you feel, but then you get over it, it's off your chest. And it's like, let's move on. And a lot of girls couldn't let go. Let it go.
How's your marriage changed over the years? You guys been together, what, 15 years?
17 years.
How's it changed?
It hasn't. Well, we probably don't shag as much, but that's because
It's a given.
But she likes to make a guest appearance.
How old is he
a phone-
now?
Dave, 60.
Wow.
I know, the silver fox.
He's 21 years older than you. No, 19 years
19
older.
years old.
I'm
Well,
sorry,
21 on Facebook.
I just believed your Facebook age for a minute. I got confused. So he's almost 20 years older than you. How did you meet?
McCab, you know this story, don't you?
I can't remember it.
Oh, my God. How am I? So I was about to get married to somebody else, this guy. That's a funny story. Ask me about the ring after this.
The guy whose ring you're still wearing?
No, I'm wearing the diamond. He asked for the ring back.
Oh, and you gave him the ring back without the diamond in it.
Put a cubic zirconia in it, went.
Oh, my God, you're funny.
Um,
So you were going to get married to another
I
guy.
was about to get married. In fact, David was invited to the wedding.
So it was really close, the
It
wedding.
was really close. So anyway, I had been working in Brisbane for 2 weeks non-stop over weekends. I missed my fiancé so much. Turned out that I was able to go home on a Friday, and I rang my fiancé and said, hey, this is great news. Can you come pick me up? He said, I'm actually going out with the boys. I said, oh, my God, are you serious? Like, I haven't seen you for 2 weeks. We're about to get married. You don't want to hang out with me? Anyway, it was just when Ansett was still around. So landing at Terminal 3 where Virgin is
You were
now.
young. You were like 21, right?
24?
24,
yeah.
okay.
And like crying my eyes out thinking, and then it was raining, and then I had my little trolley bags and 300 people in the line for the cab, and this cab driver was going, taxi, anyone going to Manly? I said, oh shit, I live in Manly. I went, oh look, me, thanks. Like totted up and got in the back seat of the cab and I was whinging to my mum saying like, this bastard didn't pick me up. Mum didn't like him anyway. And next minute I noticed it was David Oldfield in the front, and I said, look, I'm sorry, I couldn't help but notice who you are. And
Was that in the height of One Nation?
This was in the height of One Nation.
And he was, what role did he have with Pauline in One Nation?
So he was, oh God, no, no
Was he like a chief of staff?
No, that was Tony Abbott. No, he was the president of One Nation or something. I know.
Okay.
He was a head
Was he in
honcho.
Parliament?
He was. Oh no, sorry. Yes, he would have been. He was a member of the New South Wales Senate.
Okay.
And I said, look, excuse me. I said, I don't mean to interrupt you, but I just noticed who you are. And he was expecting someone to have a go. I said, what you've done for people that have been disenfranchised by country Labor and the National Party is incredible, because, you know, my family are from the country. And, you know, tariffs, everything were absolutely killing farmers at the time. And he said, well, I didn't expect that from your demographic. I always thought David was a little guy. And then when we got to his stop was first. And so I got out to get my bag off his. And he was really tall. And he was really handsome, and he said, can I have your number? And I actually forgot my phone number.
And the fact that you were about to get married.
Oh, that too.
And how come he was invited to the wedding?
Well, because like, at the time, there was nothing untoward going on. Literally 6 weeks before the wedding, I get a phone call from the fiance's, one of his female friends. She calls me into the QVB and says, like, let's have lunch. I'm thinking, this is strange because you've never really liked me. You've never really been very kind. And she looked straight across at me and she said, you know what? He's cheating on you. He's not only cheating on you with her, and her, but he's cheating on you with me. How do you feel? This big Cheshire cat grin. And I thought, are you serious? And I think she was hoping to look at that. She was almost going to take a selfie of when my heart broke. That is fantastic because I think I'm actually in love with someone else. You've just given me the perfect out.
Oh,
Thank
my
you.
God. Your life.
I know, my life, seriously.
Do you and David agree on everything politically?
No. There's one point we don't agree on.
What is it?
Gay marriage.
He doesn't believe in it.
It doesn't believe in it. No,
I mean, it's not
convinced
like
about
believing in the tooth fairy. It's like
No,
he doesn't agree with same-sex marriage being legalised.
Yeah, that's fair enough to say.
But
you know,
you do.
But I do. And my best friend, can I give a shout out to Dave Mills and Kyle Mason, my two best mates. They got engaged in Bali the other day, and I'm organising a wonderful wedding for them in New Zealand. I'm sorry that I'm not doing it here in this country.
That's a good note to end on.
Love you, Kyle. Love you, Dave.
Thanks, Lise.
Thanks, Mia. Love you.
Love you too. Crazy. Thanks for listening to No Filter. Real Housewives starts on February 26 on Arena. And if you want to download, if you've got Foxtel, the way I watch things now is that I download the Foxtel Go app and I just watch it on my devices whenever I want to, because I can never remember to record things and watch them live. If you like this episode and you want to hear more like it, have I got great news for you, because you can take a look back through this feed and you can listen to interviews with everyone from reality star Georgia Love to Kathy Lett, Lee Sales, Annabelle Crabb, Samantha Armitage, even Andrew Bolt if he's your cup of tea. Or iced tea, maybe, real iced tea. You can buy any book that has been mentioned on our podcast. I know there wasn't one today, but there often is. And also any books written by any of our guests. You just go to iBooks, where I download all my books from, at apple.co/mamamia. And this is where you can also subscribe to all our other shows in one place. Or, you know what I'm going to say next, if you want all our podcasts in one place, there's an even better idea, which is to download the Mamma Mia podcast app, which is pink. And you just put it on your phone, and that's where you can find everything. And also you should put it on someone else's phone, because sharing is caring. Can I ask you one favour? If you want to get my newsletter, which is also called No Filter, but has all of my recommendations, everything I'm thinking, reading, watching, and all the other podcasts I've been listening to during the week, you just go to miafreedman.com. And if you want to suggest a No Filter guest, or just ask me a question or leave a comment, because I'd love to know what you think. Your feedback is very important to me and to Eliza, my amazing producer. Call the pod phone on 02 899 9386, or you can flick us an email at podcast@mamamia.com.au. Today's show was produced by Liza Ratliff. She's a gun, for the Mamma Mia Women's Network. Do you know that we've got the biggest women's podcast network in the world? And the executive producer of our podcasts is Monique Bowley, and the head of entertainment is Holly Wainwright. Isn't that awesome? I will see you next week. Have a great time until we speak again. Bye. This podcast was brought to you by Real Iced Tea Co. Brewed with real tea leaves and not tea extract. It's brewed to hit the spot. Thanks for listening to No Filter. Real Housewives starts on February 26 on Arena. And if you want to download, if you've got Foxtel, the way I watch things now is that I download the Foxtel Go app and I just watch it on my devices whenever I want to, because I can never remember to record things and watch them live. If you like this episode and you want to hear more like it, have I got great news for you, because you can take a look back through this feed and you can listen to interviews with everyone from reality star Georgia Love to Kathy Lett, Lee Sales, Annabelle Crabb, Samantha Armitage, even Andrew Bolt if he's your cup of tea. Or iced tea, maybe, real iced tea. You can buy any book that has been mentioned on our podcast. I know there wasn't one today, but there often is. And also any books written by any of our guests. You just go to iBooks, where I download all my books from, at apple.co/mamamia. And this is where you can also subscribe to all our other shows in one place. Or, you know what I'm going to say next, if you want all our podcasts in one place, there's an even better idea, which is to download the Mamma Mia podcast app, which is pink. And you just put it on your phone, and that's where you can find everything. And also you should put it on someone else's phone, because sharing is caring. Can I ask you one favour? If you want to get my newsletter, which is also called No Filter, but has all of my recommendations, everything I'm thinking, reading, watching, and all the other podcasts I've been listening to during the week, you just go to miafreedman.com. And if you want to suggest a No Filter guest, or just ask me a question or leave a comment, because I'd love to know what you think. Your feedback is very important to me and to Eliza, my amazing producer. Call the pod phone on 02 8999 9386, or you can flick us an email at podcast@mamamia.com.au. Today's show was produced by Eliza Ratliff. She's a gun, for the Mamma Mia Women's Network. Do you know that we've got the biggest women's podcast network in the world? And the executive producer of our podcasts is Monique Bowley, and the head of entertainment is Holly Wainwright. Isn't that awesome? I will see you next week. Have a great time until we speak again. Bye.